Are you looking for a video conversion service? Well, look no further because I got one for you. If you are looking for fast, efficient, and honest, Source Forensics is your go-to. Since 2003, they have been converting weddings, baptisms, sports, and other videos. They have become a reputable and well-known video conversion service. Their team is up for every job, managing projects with the skill and experience their clients have come to expect. They want their customers to be satisfied with their work, which is why they provide open communication channels throughout the duration of each project. Trust Source with all your precious memories stored on various legacy formats, VHS tapes, DVDs, CDs, mini DVDs, cassettes, old vinyl, and 35mm slides. Whatever the job is, they got you covered. Contact them at 401-203-5019. Again, that's 401-203-5019. Or visit their website at www.sourceforensics.com. Again, that's www.sourceforensics.com. Now for our episode. Here we go. Let's restart this one again. On today's roundtable, I have some of the greatest coaches in the state of Rhode Island and a part of Connecticut as well too. And I welcome on head coach of North Smithfield boys soccer team and the assistant varsity coach to the boys basketball in North Smithfield, Coach Korytowski, the head coach of boys basketball at Middletown, Coach Kevin Lendrum, the head coach of boys basketball at Wheeler High School in Connecticut, Coach Neal, the head coach of boys basketball at Mount St. Charles, and the president of the Rhode Island Basketball Coach Association, Coach Henry Coleman, head coach of boys basketball at St. Patrick's Academy, Coach Greg Rack, and retired Rogers coach and Hall of Famer of the Rhode Island Interscholastic League, Coach Jim Psaras. Guys, welcome on to the show. Thank you very much for being here, and Happy New Year as well. Starting the new year off.
Happy New Year, Jeff.
Same to you,
buddy.
Happy to be here.
Thanks, guys. Coaches, I want to ask you. This has been like a crazy year with COVID, and you guys are starting off in the late season. Some of you guys are starting on the 4th. Some of you guys are starting on the 11th. And I want to get your insights of how do you. One, did you think you would ever see something like this, a pandemic like this in our lifetime? And two, how in your coaching career did you think you would ever experience this, and how would you handle the COVID situation? If Coach Coleman, would like to start us off, go ahead.
Obviously, it's going to be a unique situation. I've already had some meetings with my players, and basically I told them expect the unexpected at any point throughout this season. Just obviously a lot can be as far as occurring at any point in time. The whole program could be shut down for a variety of reasons with this pandemic. Biggest thing I've been preaching to them throughout this off season is we have to be in shape, ready to go for the fact that this season is going to be a lot more condensed, and the fact that we're not going to have any non-league games to start. We're going right into league play with every game counting towards playoffs. So just to try to get that mindset with the players, and hopefully we can hit the ground running as best as possible.
And Eric, you faced this already. So how would you, your players have played with masks and soccer, how did you guys approach it, and how well did you guys, handle it during the soccer season? What are you guys looking forward to in the basketball?
Yeah, I mean, soccer was a little bit of a different animal. We have a lot of soccer players that, play basketball for us as well. And they're kind of a little cocky, we've already done this. And then we had, like an open gym, and all of a sudden, this was a lot worse indoors than it is outdoors. So I'm like, and basketball is a completely different sport. The conditioning for it is a lot different. Soccer, you get some breaks even when you're on the field. Basketball's constant, go, 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 go. So you don't really have the downtime that you would have in soccer per se. But it's just getting the kids, like Coach Henry said, it's just getting the kids in shape and making sure that they can handle the running up and down the court with the masks on. And it is a whole different animal that a lot of these kids have never experienced before. And our message, like we had during soccer season, we're already telling the kids now, is every day you got to be all out because, as Coach Henry said again, you can show up on a Monday and that's your last day. You just don't know when it's going to end. Us as the coaches, we just want to see the kids get through the whole season, but you have to be realistic and know that you may come in one day and that might be your last day and there's nothing that you can do about it. So you just got to keep coming every day, prepared, ready to rock and roll, and there's no off days.
And Coach Cobleigh, what are your thoughts on that as well?
Well, I tell you what, we're going to find out real quick. We are only able to do conditioning for the next 2 weeks in cohorts, 4 guys per half court. Looks like we're not able to start games until February 1st, which is going to give us a short window as we won't start practicing with a ball until January 19th. I think like everybody else, we've preached to guys, stay ready. That way you don't have to get ready. We are going to have to, I'm already, we've told guys, like Henry said, you know what, you don't know when your last game is going to be. So we're going to prepare accordingly and give everybody, a lot of chances to play, because I don't know what our conditioning level is at this point. So even at a small school like I'm at, we're going to end up forcing us to play a lot of guys, I believe. We don't have the luxury of one sport athletes. Our guys play 2-3 sports, every guy on our roster. And soccer and cross country and all that ended about 2 months ago. Yeah. So I have no idea what the conditioning level is. I'm going to find out probably Monday. And I think I'm the oldest guy here, and I've never seen anything like this in my lifetime. But it's not what happens to you. And I said this ad nauseum. It's not what happens to you. It's how you react to it. So you are going to have plans and understand that those plans are going to be screwed up, and you're going to have to go again, and you're going to have to make adjustments on the fly. Hopefully we get through this.
Yeah. And Coach Psaras, so how would you approach this in this certain situation if you were in it?
I think the teams that have the experience are going to be ahead of a lot of the teams. You're going to have to get off. I think number one, you're going to have to get off to a fast start, because am I correct, Henry? Top 5 in each side.
That's correct.
Okay.
For Division 1, 2, Division 3, it's a little bit different. It's top 3 out of 5 for the 3 leagues.
All right. So no matter what, you're going to have to get off to a fast start. So, and I think 2, your depth is going to be really important. At some schools, you don't have the luxury, at the smaller schools, of that depth and the quality. And I think the third thing is you're going to really have to focus on the most important things, where, as the season goes along, you have so much time to go and touch about things and slowly build everything to where you want it and peak, hopefully at the right time. You're not going to have that opportunity now. I think you really got to, as a team and as individuals, focus on really what's important in practice each day. That's going to be game, not game like, but it's going to be what the game is going to be about. So I think that's what I would look at.
And Coach Rack, what about yourself?
Yeah, I think you nailed it right in the head. Other than conditioning, I think the kids coming in and learning the new sets and learning defense and press breakers and zones and everything, in such a short period of time. We start the 11th, so we're at a little disadvantage. And then our first game's the 21st. That's 10 days. And I'm going to try to have the stuff, all that in right at the beginning. Usually we have, scrimmages and injury funds and stuff that we can get used to. I can see my rotation, all that kind of stuff. But these kids are going to be thrown right in it. And obviously, at St. Pat's, we're so small that, I have 4 seniors coming back, and then the next 4 guys on my depth chart are all freshmen. So we're going to be at a disadvantage with that. They have no idea what my system is. I've showed them a little bit, but we haven't been able to practice. And those, other than the conditioning stuff, I think the cognitive stuff where kids have to pick up sets and they have to pick up how I run my defense and all that kind of stuff. I think that's going to be a big adjustment for the kids in such a fast time. And the last game, if you make it, is February 21st. that's a month and 10 days. So it is you have to start right away. You have to put your foot on the gas and hopefully kids respond and pick it up right away. So yeah, I think that's a big adjustment for this year.
That's huge. And Coach Lendrum.
It's very difficult. If you look at like how this whole year has been from January to now, like everything has just been up in the air and you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to happen from minute to minute. I'm looking at things like socially distancing during timeouts. Like how are you going to diagram a play if everybody is 6 feet away? Like in Coach Greg's talking about, having to put in, a lot of things very quickly, which everyone has to do. I don't see there's not enough time. I really don't personally. So I'm kind of going at it a different angle. I'm looking at it like the seniors that I have, I have a lot of kids who aren't playing. I don't know if I'm going to have a JV team, but I have a lot of kids not playing. Like, Greg, you're a little bit different than yours. I've got 6 seniors, but really only a couple play, and will have played in the past. And I've got 5 or 6 sophomores, and I got a load of freshmen, but they're not anywhere near ready. And I got no juniors right now, so it's I'm just gonna the seniors are excited to play, to do something. They haven't really done anything for so long. They just want to. I was talking to them and saying that we're gonna have to play with masks, and they're like, I don't really care. I just want to do something. So I'm looking at it at an angle of like, I've got a little over a month to have these kids enjoy something in their senior year, and the younger sophomore kids, just get them ready for the next 2. That's what I'm looking at.
It's good. It's a good approach. I mean, it sounds like just awful situation for everyone. It's just a difficult situation. It feels like everyone's going through it all at the same time. So it's just like you have to look at it a different way and approach it a different season. Depends on how you want to approach it. And like I think Coach Psaras has made the good point as well, that the teams with the older group of guys and that played with each other are going to have the best benefit from this whole situation.
I think another thing that's going to be tough. I don't coach AAU. I know Henry does, but coaching with the mask on, like yelling your plays and getting your baseline out of bounds stuff. Like the kids can't hear me half the time without a mask on. We'll see how it goes with the mask on. So,
I think Greg on that one, as what we used to do, and Kevin knows, is the hand signals are going to be imperative.
Yep.
So if they can't hear you, they've got to see. If it's the captains, how you relate, and that's all like how you got to build it into practice.
Yeah.
So the game is the same habits that they see in practice. You know what I mean?
Right.
So right. To be something that people are going to have to say, okay, you can't hear me because of the mask. Well, what's the other way that you can? It's visual.
100%. Yeah.
The good news is there won't be many fans in the crowd to make a loud environment. So it should be a little bit easier to hear. I know we're not allowing any fans, I think, in our home game. So
yeah, we never have them anyway. So
yeah, I was gonna say we're New York. It looked like another day practice for us.
Well, at least Coach Cobleigh, you can't show in your tie because you're gonna have your mask.
Yeah, people are laughing already at how I'm gonna do this, but I don't think we're going with ties this year. We're going NBA style and just go polos every day.
We switched over to the polos a couple of years ago, and it was life-changing.
The whole thing with the tie was supposed to help me act better, and I don't know that it did. But and I think Jim brought up a great point of how you are gonna vocalize or make sure kids know what you want to run, and we've kind of switched more over to a motion offense conceptualized, so it's not quite as difficult for us kids reading actions. Now that being said, we have a lot of young kids that have to be taught how to play. We were able to have our outdoor clinics this summer, and a lot of the younger kids were able to come. So that was a head start for us. Everything. And, like I said, we're running motion offense, and we're going to try. The kids have to read certain situations and make the right play. And we're going to have to scale down the monster defense. A lot of kids haven't, our matchup zone, a lot of kids haven't had a lot of experience in that. So we're going to have to simplify everything. And we're going to try to make all our sets, press break, anything like that. It's all going to be within the same context, same set, same actions. And just kind of, there's a huge thought of the game should be about simplification and execution. And we're going to even have to, bring that down even more. There's not going to be able to do a lot of surprise and change things, changing defenses, just a matter of getting it in. But I think with our system, it'll blend well if I can teach it. And I think that's what I'm looking at as far as the X's and O's. But, I think the kids will hear me. I've been practicing yelling with that mask on, Eric. So
I can't imagine they make a mask that could muffle you up.
Oh, man. But all right. So, it's a tough season for all of us. And, I wish, the coaches the best of luck with everything that you guys have going on.
with all the issues than the kids do. And I think it's paramount as us as coaches that we display the right attitude towards everything. It's a medical concern, and one of the first priorities is to make sure your kids are in a safe environment. And this just highlights that.
Yeah, that's true. So it's tough season, but at least you guys have one, and it's good for those seniors that are able to play and able to get out there. I want to move on to something a little bit different. I want to get some coaching insights from you guys, all great coaches here in this meeting. At so let's say at halftime you're down by 5. At what point at a halftime do you make an adjustment, or do you stick to your guns?
Well, five is not that big of a score difference. I think in that instance, you just, as long as things are working and the game plan is working, and it also depends on the other team. If it's a team that is top ranked in the state and you're down 5, you're ecstatic when you're at halftime. And, if you're playing, us, just playing. But if you're playing a team that's not that good and you're down 5, then you might use some choice words to try to get them going. But I don't think you really need to change up what's going on. But again, it all depends on what you've seen during the game. I think it's more specific than, at least I think it's more of a specific question than a broad stroke for it. But
Yeah, I think halftime's always a good time. Like, during timeouts, I always try to talk. Full timeout, I try to talk to my assistant coach real quick. But halftime, I let the kids go in the locker room and I talk with my coaches. Just go over a couple minutes. Like, what did you guys see? What adjustments we have to make? Sometimes we didn't make no adjustments. We just keep doing what we're doing. And then sometimes we need to make big adjustments. Maybe the team's killing us down low and we have to switch up our help on the backside or something like that. But I think that's the best thing is just sitting with your coaches and talking for more than 30 seconds with them. Because when I'm coaching, I'm standing up. I'm not going up and down the sidelines, and I hardly hear what my assistant coach says. But halftimes allows me to talk to them in a calm manner for a couple minutes, and then go talk to the team and make adjustments. Whatever we think to do that game.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. And I've thought about this a lot because our timeout, our halftime and timeouts are going to be shorter. And like Coach Greg said, we usually give the kids a couple minutes to go to the bathroom, get water, whatever. Coach and staff talks, and we usually talk, what did we do well? What did the other team do well? What did we do lousy? They do lousy. What can we, exploit? But usually when I think of adjustments, usually my first adjustment is we got to get kids to play harder is usually our first adjustment. And then we have to do what we do better would be kind of look into that second adjustment. And then it may be minor adjustments is how we're, defending pick and roll or a down screen or whatever. And then maybe we need another players and get different guys in that are going to do this. And then it's at that point we'll change up. Really not big wholesale changes. We'll play man and we play matchup zone in the half court. And our presses are mainly the same as our matchup zone. So we don't do a lot of real wholesale changes because we do a lot of scouting and we feel real confident in our game plans. But like I said, our first adjustment's always right. We need to play harder. Is usually our first adjustment. Play better, make your minor adjustments, get better, get different players in, or somebody who can do it better, and then make that wholesale change. That's kind of the way we approach it. Now, I'm going to have to probably get a lot smarter because I got less time to get all this done, and so Greg's going to have a big job to do this year to keep me focused and everything on that, and hopefully he's in charge of picking up the defensive adjustments. So, we have to, everybody's got to do their job, and we have to do it a little bit faster.
Yeah, we try to make sure that, like I have my assistant coaches have the stat sheets, shot charts, and have them. We look at them if where are we taking our most of our shots? If we're jacking up 18 threes, and we're not getting the ball into the paint, and we're trying to get the ball inside, we look at how many shots the other team's best player has taken. If we wanted to try to limit that person's shots, those are the kinds of things that I really look at halftime in specific, just to try to see if what we were doing, like what Neal was saying with, the game plan before the practice, if that's being followed, before the game, if we're following what the game plan and what we're doing is okay, and we're down 5, then we can,
good
keep that going,
And those are good visuals. Go ahead, Henry.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
The other thing is too, as far as besides adjustments, sometimes we just try to remind the kids, whether as far as at some point we might be seeing their full court pressure. Don't, as far as slack off of a certain shooter. I know he struggled in the first half, but obviously the law of averages, at some point he could get hot. So just little details in the scouting report that maybe we haven't seen yet in the first half, but just to remind them that it could be coming at any point.
Yeah, I think your preparation is paramount. The better job you do preparing, I mean, obviously, the less adjustments you're going to have to make, and the better job you do teaching to teach those adjustments that the kids can make it right off the bat and understand, what cuts they have to make, or what the other team's trying to take away. So, I think preparation and teaching, can save you a lot of headaches down the road. And as far as the timeouts, I think it was how are you guys gonna handle that? Because we have social distancing timeouts. And so if I got 5 kids I have to talk to, that's 5 times 6 is what? Close to 30 feet away. I mean, has anybody thought of how you're going to do that? Because I'd like to know. We're thinking of maybe printing up things and having, almost like a bulletin board type things that we can wheel in.
Yeah. So Coach Cobleigh, for what I did for soccer was even more challenging. I had 11 guys. We did the water break at 20 minutes, which was fantastic because in soccer, you really don't get timeouts, but we use that to our advantage, and that's pretty much what we did. Was we had a huge whiteboard, and it was like, hey, get in, and we kind of just drew out the X's and O's because I had guys standing 40 feet away from me, and I'm yelling, and I'm yelling to them, hey, this is what we got to look at. But yeah, I think, I don't know if that's where Coach Rack was going with it, but it's all about like visual cues. I think it's the short, simple visual cues. Hey, this is what's going on. This is how we got to correct it and kind of get out there. I think simplicity is going to be key this year.
All right. My luck, I'll have all auditory learners.
You might not necessarily have, per se, the bench area. I mean, it's going to be a completely different season. You might be using the entire half court at your end for a timeout to social distance not only your players that are in the game, but the rest of your group. I mean, they might have to be on the perimeter on the baseline and on the sideline, and it's not going to be people are going to be able to hear what's going on down the other end.
Yeah, exactly.
So your preparation again and your experience is really going to be paramount. What you do in practice.
Yeah, you got to practice those situations too. All right, we got a timeout. Let's go. How are we social distance? We got a minute. Everybody get in your spot. Here's my board, and here's what we do. I think those are things within getting everything that we need to install, and those are other things we need to do at the beginning of the year this year. It's just to be prepared.
Yeah, I mean, we always practice what a timeout look like. You're going to have to continue it, and even go in a Zoom ahead of time if you're allowed to do it with the kids and say, oh, this is how this is what we're thinking of, and then as we go along, we'll have to make adjustments to that as well. But I mean, it's a constant. There's no answer. There's no playbook for this. You're gonna have to lean on each other.
Which is great. Like right now, I'm learning stuff. I'm like, all right, I got to do that. I should be writing stuff down.
Practice timeout like
Exactly. That's why this stuff's great.
We practice our layup lines or our pre-game warm-up stuff, in practice or the first scrimmage, and that you have to find time and really use your time wisely to practice all this stuff. And then in a scrimmage, it was the same thing. Like, okay, here's how we do a timeout. Point, the guards are here, the forwards are here. The position players that are on the bench should be in that area, either behind or behind you or behind the bench, the seats, depending on what your gym allows. And so there's things you got to practice, and that's why the time frame that you're going to have to practice, I think, is going to be so game-like anyways, but now more than ever to really kind of help speed certain processes along. The other stuff, it is what it is.
And the other things that you might take for granted, maybe at your home gymnasium, you have chairs. On the road, you might be sitting in bleachers. So obviously you're going to think of those two scenarios when it comes to timeouts. Just things that we've never had to take into consideration that obviously are going to have a big impact, especially during those 30-second, 1-minute timeouts. You want to use every second to your advantage.
That's great. How long are the timeouts for you guys? Will they shortened them again?
We get 3 fulls with a 60 seconds, and then we're going to get 2 30 seconds.
2 30s. So they took one away?
Yeah. Since we went to quarters, they took one away, 1 full.
Yeah, I think we have three fulls, 2 30s. Though I don't even know, because we're going to the 8-minute periods with the minute in between, 10-minute halftime. The regulations we got in about 3 pages, 4 pages long, and I'm trying to go through all of that and see where we can pick up certain advantages. But you know what, there's something I didn't even think of, you know, different gyms. You got chairs. We have small bleachers. Other schools have, you know, like say Westerly got 40 rows. You know, we got 6. So we have to space all our kids out during the game. And so that's something I didn't even think about. I think this stuff is baffling me more than the actual basketball stuff. You know, we'll figure out a way with the basketball stuff, but it's these other things. And
it's the other stuff. That's what I struggled with during soccer season. It's like the soccer stuff I'm fine with because I've been doing it for so long. But you know, trying to get 30 kids to Central Falls without having them to drive their own cars and park there is a different animal. You know.
Yeah, you know, and Eric, you know, I don't like surprises when I go places either. It's you know, I want to know what I'm getting into, and you know, and the places where we've been a lot, I kind of know what we're going in, getting into, and what they're going to try to pull or whatever. I mean, some of the ECC coaches are the best gamesmanship guys that you've ever seen in your life. It's you know. But yeah, you know what? It's going to be a challenge. You know, and hopefully we get through it.
I just think I know in Rhode Island, I know, you know, Coach B talks about the coaches group chat all the time, and you know how you guys are always talking with one another. I think this year more than ever you'll see a lot of camaraderie amongst coaches. Hey, this is what we're doing. This is what works out.
Yeah.
And so I hope to see that kind of grow this year, because I mean. It's gonna every novel idea that you can think of. I literally have a half a page full of it. I'm just taking notes as we talk, and it's like any little thing that can just help you get through the season is going to be vital.
I'm not telling Henry a thing though.
And the thing is too,
assume he already knows.
Oh,
Yeah.
Henry's got guys that have been at that school for like 7 years.
That's true. That's true.
Coming up through the ranks. For some reason, they seem to hang around a little bit longer.
Yeah, you know.
5th-year seniors.
So there's a kid that played against us like 6 years ago. He's still there.
I'm still convinced Henry
works
has a
out,
camera
right?
somewhere in our gym. I think Henry still has a camera in our gym somewhere. I haven't found it yet, but
You'd be surprised.
Oh man, this is great. I mean, and what I want to know too on your guys' insight is like, what do you think like the biggest adjustment to this style of play? Like, I think we're moving towards more, I hate to say it, like positionless basketball, and everyone's going for the 3-pointers. And how do you make that adjustment? And what do you think is going to be the next big style of play? Is it going to go back to the big man, or what's going to happen?
Well, I'll say this, that the style of the NBA is what it gives our kids, especially around here, that think they're good and they're not. It reinforces that they can pick up a basketball and they can run to you throw the balls in the gym. The rack is in the gym. The kids come grab the ball. The first thing they do is dribble to the 3-point line and chuck it up. No, unless, Neal, we've talked about, form shooting and just getting that routine down first. And I try to get my kids, it takes a few days, but I'm like, don't grab a ball and come in and jack up threes. Get in there, work on your form, your position, your follow through, all of that, and gradually work your way out. I don't know why I jumped in and said something like that, because it didn't really answer the question. But
it's perfect. It's perfect.
It's just, you know what?
It's something that eats at me. I'm like, guys, man, you're not Steph Curry. You're not going to make 105 threes in a row. You make 105 5-footers in a row, move back, make 105 10-footers in a row. And, the positionless basketball is great. I'm watching Golden State last night, and Wiseman gets the ball in transition and jacks up a 3, hits the bottom of the rim. I'm like, you're 7 feet tall, catch the ball in, rim run. You can shoot out maybe, but like, that was awful. I couldn't believe that. I almost threw something at the TV set. I was like, you're not Steph Curry. You're 19 years old. You're not. I don't know. Sorry, that's my rant for the day.
Yeah, that's as far as the adjustments and the way the game is played, I'm an OG, but here's the thing: we've embraced the new way to, and I've always, if a kid's not shooting well, we're going to teach you to shoot, and we, we do a lot of it in our high school practices, and we concentrate a lot in our youth league camps, and it also comes back to, you get what you emphasize. If you're going to emphasize a certain way to do things, then it's up. The kids have to buy in. I mean, we shoot a lot of threes, but we spend a lot of time on teaching how to shoot. I spend a lot of, repetition on shooting. I mean, to me, the two biggest things that happen in a game, it's right in the rule book. Team that scores the most points wins. Right. So you have to be able to put the ball in the basket. And then you have to stop the other team from putting the ball in the basket. So, so you have to spend a lot of your time and emphasis on getting guys to guard the ball. I'm thinking of bringing Jimmy down to do a clinic for us. So those two things I feel you have to emphasize those things. Now, that being said, we do a lot of teaching of shooting and we do a lot of repetition, but you have to prove to us where you can make shots from. And if you can shoot 35% or above on threes, you pretty much have a green light with us. We shot 37% as a team, and that's with some JV kids getting in at the end of the game and
that's pretty good.
Missing a few.
Yeah.
And, but as far as positionless basketball, I mean, we've been playing that for 12 years. I mean, I may have 5 guys no taller than 5'11". So you tell me.
You go back to the 90s, Jim, like your squad, like from, with Randy and those guys, everyone was positionless. We just side out, just play, learn to play.
Yeah, I mean, and whatever was being run back, in whatever time frame we're in, whatever you're running, like Neal said, it goes back to the core, scoring and stopping. And your personnel, you've got to, it's not about all the plays you put in. If I look at things as a reflect back and give, advice to anybody, it's just like putting your players in the position they're going to be successful in, but understanding what type of kids they are. And, but then you can do that in offense because you have different kids that are coming in that have different skill sets. Where on the defensive end, okay, what type of kids do you have? Are they really tough kids? Are they a little bit soft? So you got to mold the way you want to play defensively in your system to your kids. Now, if you're in that community, I think, and you've done things, the kids in the next group up, they're going to be ready in this year to be a little bit ahead of the game based on, your JV success, your past far, so that it's like, okay, then so I think the style of play, I think at times it'll change again. It'll go back where the ball will get back inside, but that may come with the rule changes too. But I do think that, it's become more of a wide open game, but it also depends on, what the talent level is and the skill set for each individual player. And that really dictates, want to say style of play, but, bottom line is the same things work and, defense will still be the same. It's just, you want to stop the ball, from scoring.
And obviously, as the other coaches mentioned, just for the fact that NBA, it's just a whole different level of play. That's one thing a lot of times the high school players don't understand. As Coach Lendrum mentioned, they grab the ball, the first shot, they're thinking I can shoot a 3, but that might not be one of their strengths. I know personally as a coach, I know Coach Psaras already mentioned it as well, for the fact that sometimes you change up your system depending on the personnel. Would it be great to run an NBA style offense all the time? Sure. But at the same time, if you don't have that personnel, it's just not going to be conducive to having that much success as far as in the big picture. I know last year we were kind of, as far as we had a lot of 5 outs, we had a lot of shooters. This year, it's going to be a little bit different. We have a nice mix. We're going to be going down low. We're going to be on the perimeter, but we're going to be completely different from where we were last year to what we're going into this year.
I
Well,
think,
Henry,
you know,
there's a lot of down low and perimeter, so I'm just taking some notes here.
Yeah.
What
I
exactly?
don't want to give away too much.
Are you thinking there?
and it also depends on what the other team has. So your kids have to be prepared.
True.
Right? You know, we teach all our kids how to post up. I mean, you know what? I spent 5 years with Coach Neal, and so we emphasize that. And you know, there's always somebody out there that maybe you can post up. You know, even my 5'7" point guard, every now and then, you know, he may have somebody who post up, and you know, I got a 6'4", I guess is a big man for whatever you want to call him. But you know, he's pretty quick. You know, he's not not real strong, but he's quick. So it kind of depends on who's guarding him. You know, what can you do and who's guarding you? But it still comes back to the fundamentals. To me, you got to put the ball in, find the best way to do that, and you got to stop the ball. You know, we say it in our program all the time. You know, two main things: put the orange thing in the orange thing, and then keep the orange thing out of the orange thing. The game is that simple to me, and you just got to find the best ways to do that.
Now, is there, do you guys ever follow like analytics or anything, or like how do you guys approach it?
I just wanted my team to take the best shot and
Right.
the best shot for our team. And if that's a three, that's a three. If it's a layup post entry, it's a post entry. If it's transition, the best shot for our team. And you know, like I'm not sure who's one of you, I can't remember who it was. Someone said something about, you know, I think it was Neal about talking about if you can shoot this percentage from three, then you're allowed to take that shot. And I was talking to Coach Psaras earlier this year about, you know, trying to get it involved in practice where, you know, where a kid can, because all my kids they all think they can shoot, and like none of them can. When I say you can beat me in Horace and none of you can, then you can shoot. And they all think they can shoot. So I'd like to come up with, maybe any of you guys can help in practice to try to, you know, chart. And it's going to be difficult with a lack of people in there this year, but maybe going forward to chart your shooting percentages in practice. Like we chart free throws a lot. We do free throw competitions, shooting drills with competitions. Losers got to run, push-ups, things like that. But yeah, that's the best shot to me is whatever it is. If it's an open shot, as long as it's not a contested, terrible shot, then you know, that's what we're looking to try to get, the best shot for our team.
Not only with threes, we look at what our guys, can they finish at the rim? You know what? Yeah. If they, you know, to me, you got to be able to shoot 60% or better finishing at the rim. We don't have a lot of guys who can do that. You know, the mid-range shots, we emphasize taking mid-range shots, but it's always off a pump fake or drive and pull up and reading the defense. Now it's a little bit different for us. We don't have a shot clock in Connecticut.
Right.
So, you know, we can kind of search and destroy. I mean, you don't know how many years it took me to get used to that after coming over from Rhode Island. I'd take it and that shot clock in a minute, and everybody tells me I'm crazy because I got the smallest team in the state. I said, I don't care. We'll figure it out. The advantage I have, I know how to do it. You know, with you guys with the shot clock, you know, obviously you don't want to take, you know, a bad shot off the first pass, but sometimes, you know, you got to find out what that shot is within the shot clock, because you get under, you know, 7 seconds with the shot clock, you better have somebody who can finish at the rim or run pick and roll or whatever it is. Because, you know, a lot of times your worst shot I've seen comes at the end of the shot clock. Guys are contested 2 hands up in the face. They have no choice but to shoot it where they may have passed up an open three or a drive or whatever earlier in the clock.
I guess in the answer to your question, Mike, Jeff, is the analytics part. I think, it's based on like what you have somebody that can do,
Right.
stats for your team. Now, I've always debated with my assistants, like, I thought it was imperative that the 12 statistical categories, 6 on offense and 6 on defense, that we had were done by the coaches. Those stats were done by one of the assistants. Now, did it take you away from like seeing things on the court? Yeah, but I think the analytics part based on, listen, we're in high school budgets here.
Yeah.
Some don't even have a budget. So you can't even get like more than 2 basketballs unless you're running camp or you're doing your things. So how can you best, have analytics that you have instantaneously right in front of you? And I've talked to like, different coaches and said, you got to have something where it's instant, where they can look, here's the shot chart. And that could be a kid who's a JV kid. That could be a kid who's your manager. It depends what situation you have. But right in front of you, here it is. Here's the shot chart. Look at it. We're taking every shot inside the 3-point line, and we're like 17, 18 feet away, which is the worst shot on the court. So like the analytics part is having things that you value and having those things tracked every day. And then that's what you emphasize in practice every day. So for example, I'll take 1 offense and 1 defense of the ones that we do. The assist total. What is our assist total? Well, they also tell you sharing the ball. Is the ball moving? And on the defensive side, it would be deflections. Are your hands active, which causes a whole multitude of things that could happen to the other team's offense. So those are just 2 examples, but I think it's important.
And having those visuals too for the kids, like, you might say, yeah, you went 5 for 17, but showing them their shot shot, right? You went 5 for 17, but all 5 of your makes were at the rim. So what should you do? And I think I in the past, St. Pat's, I just came back this year, but in the past they didn't really do any shot charts and stuff like that. So the first game I showed the kids the shot charts, and one of my better players, I think he was like 7 for 22. He's like, oh my God, I took 22 shots. I'm like, yeah, you took 22 shots. And I showed him like where he was successful, and it kind of opened his eyes. He's like, oh, he was like talking to himself. He's like, I got to get to the rim more. Like, so I think the visuals help the high school kids big time, just seeing that stuff.
Yeah.
I've always been one with the eye test first, but I think with what the analytics have shown me, it kind of reinforces what you see. And Eric played for me way back. And in fact, that we always had stat charts upon stat chart, right?
I love deflection. Deflection was my favorite stat.
We charted all that stuff. And right now, what I do is we have our JV guys. I have about 4 or 5 different stat charts, each with just a few things, a couple of things that they have to chart. Now, we find, is it accurate all the time? It's pretty close, but we can tell, when it's not accurate. And we've been fortunate. We ran a couple extra camps and been able to get huddle. So I could always check their charts against the computer and find out what's accurate about that. But yeah, and I grabbed those charts at halftime or the quarter. I'll tell Coach McHugh, I said, you know what, go check that assist chart, check that rebound chart, check our, offensive rebounds. What are we getting? And then that goes into what adjustments you may have to make. But yeah, I mean, stats and analytics and be available, are kind of important. I mean, your kids go to school, they get their stats every day, right? You got a B-, you got a C+, or you got a 96 on this test, but you got a 52 on that one. So, I mean, you always have to have something that's proof of your evaluation. And like Coach Greg said, the visual part of things now is so important. Having film for kids to look at, having that chart, with huddle and all that stuff, you can just make a whole reel of just one kid, every shot he took. You can evaluate that way. So I mean, yeah, those stuffs are luxuries, but, I'd probably just run an extra camp in the summer that pays for that. I mean, because we have no budget, we get 6 basketballs and 2 scorebooks, maybe a couple whistles. That's our budget. Anything else, we got to come up with it somehow. So, we run 3 or 4 camps, and that's our budget, of what we got. Yeah, I mean, analytics, proof of what you're doing is never lost. I mean, you can always find some use for it.
And it's been around forever, like, because I was Jim's assistant, and I remember doing all the stat sheets for him. And we're going a long time ago, and we're charting deflections. And to me, I like other teams' offensive rebounds as that, and deflections are like energy kind of
Energy plays.
and charges taking. Those are the things that you are engaged, and it's not necessarily the 3-ball analytics versus the 2-ball analytics.
Exactly.
But it's something that's been there from day one. I mean, it's technically so.
Yeah. The thing is, too, those are the ones that don't show up in the box score.
Box scores.
People open up the papers, they think, wow, this kid had 20 points. But on the defensive end, he gave up 22, 24 points because he wasn't getting back on D. So just all those little intangibles. And my biggest thing is, I tell the kids all the time, the numbers don't lie.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the end of every game, I usually I look at my stat chart, and I give a defensive player of the year the game. So I give them a hard hat, and they wear the hard hat for the next game.
I've seen that.
Based on deflections, charges, closeouts, stuff like that. And some kids be like, I had such a bad game, coach. I had 2 points. I'm like, yeah, but you had 6 deflections and 2 charges. That changes our defense. That changes the momentum. So I think rewarding the defense at end too is to see for kids too.
What we do at Wheeler is we take all those stat charts and we tally up, call them winners department points, and each stat has a different weight value, and we chart it every game. Kids get a grade at the end of the game, and then whoever has the most winners department points at the end of the year, we the big guys and the small guys, we give them each a plaque, and the kids rush to look at that leaderboard every game. It's offensive rebounds, defensive rebounds, charges, deflections, which is huge with us. Fouls we minus out, turnovers has a minus value, and so I think anything you can do, like I said, to emphasize doing those things is going to help your program, and that's analytics. I mean, and I kind of laugh at all this. Everybody thinks this is new, but we did it back in Wesley back in the 90s. We charted all these things, and where shots were taken from, who could make threes, who couldn't, whatever. And probably some of the biggest battles I had with Coach Sylvester is that, if you're open in his program, you were supposed to shoot. And I used to fight with him all the time. But this kid shouldn't be shooting that much. That kid shouldn't be shooting. But now, as I go in my own program, I see the value of developing confidence and teaching kids, the most important things that occur in the game, making sure that we're better at that. Eric will tell you, and a lot of kids, I didn't want him shooting threes, but Coach Sylvester said, "Yeah, let it go." And I saw the value of that. I think we played West Warwick in a state semi or something like that. Our point guard. I didn't want shooting, but Coach always wanted him to shoot. And West Warwick's point guard, I'm glad Richard's not here right now, but he wouldn't shoot, so we didn't guard him. And we were able to double Garrick and things like that. So I think, if you're going to be out there, you gotta be able to make plays. I just see the value of being able to make shots. You have a shot that's worth 3. Let's get good at that. We don't take them all the time, certain guys, but we got to get better at that.
Not to spend more time on it, because I know there's other questions, but there's other analytics that you can do too that track the game flow based on your stats, which I've talked to, I think, to Henry about. Kevin knows, Neal and I have talked about it in our Zoom clinics, but, the different way the flow of the game, based on 4-minute segments, the stats are in those columns. So, boy, number 34 at St. Patrick's, he got 2 offensive rebounds in that segment. We had 3 turnovers in addition during that segment, from the 12-minute mark to the 8-minute mark, and we had 0 assists. And that 4-minute segment, we were -4. And, so that's another, maybe for another longer discussion, but there's other analytics that we use that I thought were just as important as this, because it was the actual in-game flow.
And I think, Huddle, I know, did that. You could pick out any segment of the game. And now they kind of doing a lot of coaches dirty with their prices. So we're going to try a new one this year and see how effective that is.
They're expensive, though. That's the problem.
It absolutely is. And Huddle doubled their prices.
I've talked to
I can't even get my game films from last year because they want a storage fee to hold them.
Right.
They doubled their price.
Well, how do you get around it? You just gotta. I mean, you can use an iPad. You can use a tablet.
Yeah, there are a lot of good apps out there.
We use paper and a pen. You're not going to go wrong with it.
We do that too.
or a pencil.
Yeah, that's what I do. I chart. I don't have Huddle, obviously. Your schools, we don't have a big budget, and I just chart. I chart it myself. It takes me a while, but I learn from it, and after the kids learn from it too.
We film every game, and we've only had Huddle and stuff for like the past couple of years, but we used to film every game, and I used to sit home after the coaches meeting and try to make sense of the film. I'd be there 3-4 hours trying to break down film and seeing where this and, so that's why I have young assistant coaches. They're better with the computers than I am. But to me, evaluation is there's doing, and then you have to evaluate what you're doing, and any tool that alleviates a lot of the time frames and whatever is invaluable to me. And and then like Jim said, the information is only useful to you if you use it. I mean, it's great to have all this stuff, but if it doesn't make any sense to you, or it's not of value to what you're doing, and that's kind of the way we see it. But
I know one of the stats, or some of the stats we started really charting a couple of years ago, was kind of like the game inside the game, right? So, how many offensive rebounds are we giving up? How many points are we giving up off of those? How many free throws are we missing? How many layups are we missing? And then, hey, at the end of the game, if we're -12 in offensive rebound points and layup points, guess where the game went, And we tell those kids, those are the things that they can control, right? Sometimes you can't control a kid jacking up a 3 30 feet behind the line and banking it in, right? Sometimes that just happens. But the things that we can control, right? Again. Boxing out, making uncontested layups. And it's like, that stuff that we have 100% control over. That's what we have to capitalize on.
We did that at West. So we had the shot charts. You probably even had to fill some of them out.
Well, I was trying to figure out if I was one of those guys that you were saying that shouldn't be shooting. I was, I don't know.
No, I'd have told you to your face. You know that.
Is he trying to lay some subtle hints here?
Definitely not. But understand. Eric. I bust him a lot, and but Eric played hard. He was always the offensive rebounder. You take charges, dive on the floor, which is a lot of the things that we charted and get high point values in our point system. So usually, like I said, my first adjustment is always, play harder, and the guys who played the hardest stay in. Then if you can put the ball in the basket and stop the other guy, then you're going to play a lot.
Yeah. Well, this has been awesome, guys. I think that's all I have for questions for today. I mean, I would love to do a part 2 because this has been so insightful with all of you guys, and have you guys rejoin. But this has been absolutely amazing. The insights and the outs of what you guys, just learning. It seems like everyone was learning from each other. I'm learning. I should take mental notes. I'm gonna have to rewatch this and write some stuff down and to add to my book. But you guys have been great.
I already kept the chart. No, it's,
I got my notes right here.
Look like.
But if you know, we'd love to do this again with the same group of guys and actually do maybe you know, another part 2 of this. This has been great. Thank you guys for your time. Anything that you have to say before we sign off?
Yeah, I just want to say that I'm always a Zoom away and having a conversation with anybody. I've told Henry this ad nauseum, and Kevin knows already that, you know, I'm always a Zoom away of talking to anybody and always, you know, throwing ideas around or just, you know, listening or answering questions and just getting feedback. So I'm there for anybody and any coach.
And honestly, that's probably one of the biggest positives that I would take from this whole pandemic is just getting onto this platform of Zoom and being able to attend many of Coach Psaras' 5-star Zooms. We've also had some other local ones with other coaches as well. And it's just been a great opportunity to learn from so many other coaches, great discussions like these. And like you said, couldn't ask for a better as far as group of guys right here and others I've worked with over these past few months to get through this whole situation, but to also better ourselves as well.
Yeah.
Theme here.
And,
You know what, guys, always welcome, you know, text me, email me, Zoom. I like to teach, and I like to learn, and, you know, I usually will snag Jimmy on a text and Kevin on some of the platforms that I'm a part of. But guys, you know, a lot of us are the OGs now. You gotta share what you know and pay it forward. It's so important. Like I said, click away, hit me up anytime.
That's what's great about like the basketball community, coaching community. Like, I feel like there's no one ever has a closed door. Everybody's like trying to get information from each other and learning from each other. And, you know, that's awesome. That's awesome. And I appreciate you know, you guys both, everybody saying that. So it's really cool.
Yeah, the other thing was, Jeff, I just wanted to thank you, Jeff, for, you know, continuing to put these things together. I'm having a blast watching them. I think it's great. And I think it just kind of gives, you know, the coaches and even the kids now are getting involved in it. And I think it's giving everybody a platform to kind of, you know, just kind of talk about their experiences, right? I mean, my wife doesn't want to listen to me anymore talk about, you know, where I got my start from or any of that stuff. But being able to talk about it and get on these roundtables is awesome. And, you know, I just want to, I don't know if you're getting the credit you deserve, Jeff, but this is some great stuff, man.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, bravo.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
You know what?
Bravo, Jeff.
Thanks. Just to let you know, all your shirts are coming in the mail too. I guess.
Nice.
If you're ready for that.
Yeah, I'm pulling the sponsorship. No Wheeler hoodie today.
No, we were ready
I'll
today.
get you a Rogers sweatshirt, Jeff.
All right. I'll take it.
I got a Rogers one.
Well,
Just no
guys,
mount stuff.
what's that?
Just no mount stuff. That's it. That's the only.
Yeah, no mounts.
It's actually, I overnighted it. It should be there any day now.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, guys. I really mean it. I would love to, you know, get this group together again sometime soon and, you know, continue a part 2 of the conversation. And, you know, I know everyone's season's starting up very soon. You know, good luck to everyone with everything that's going on. You guys are handling it the best way and, you know, overcoming adversity. And this has been awesome. And I love hearing everyone's stories about it.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.
Thank
All right,
you,
guys.
Jeff.
Thank you,
Great
Jeff.
job.
Thank you, and
Great
thank
job,
you, Jeff. Good luck, everybody.
Thanks,
Good
guys.
luck.
All right, see you guys.
I'll talk to you.
See you.